Hey there, thanks for joining me for Bible journaling. Today we're going to be working in our Encourage a Moment to Breathe 365 devotions. We are currently on day 318 and the title is The Rules Are Tools. So today our verse is Deuteronomy 30:16. For I am commanding you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways and to keep his commands, statutes, and ordinances, so that you may live and multiply, and the Lord your God may bless you in the land you are entering to possess. So there's our verse today. I'm loving that. So I went ahead to find my image today. I got onto Google and I typed in my verse, and up popped an image of a gentleman or a person standing outside, raising his hand, bowing his head, and praying to God and saying his ways. So that's where I got my image today, and I just lightly drew it in with a pencil and I freehanded it on there. Nothing fancy. It's late at night on Wednesday night here for me, so I just wanted to do something so that I would have something to put up for tomorrow, since I missed last week. I never did get to it. So that was my idea today, was to go with this image of him praising God. He's praying and he's just wanting to go with God's way today. So I'm going to go ahead. I did go ahead and gesso my page with 2 coats of clear gesso. I do that every time so that I don't have to worry about bleed through. And then when I watercolor my page, I don't have to worry about the page crinkling up. It will just keep it nice and flat. So I'm going to use my Illustrated Faith watercolors, and I'm just going to watercolor my image in there. It's not going to be too fancy. We're just going to quickly go over it and give it some color and make it look like someone standing there. So I'm going to go ahead and read the story while I do some painting. Mikey, don't stand on Maddie's stroller. Mikey, step down. Michael, now. He looks at me and steps up higher until he loses balance. The stroller tips backward, and through tears he asks, Mommy, why did you let me fall? I want to grab him and yell, why didn't you listen to me? But instead I say, I'm sorry you fell. I love you, little Mikey. It's important to listen to Mommy. I'm watching out for you when I tell you things. I want you to be safe. I give him a hug. How often are we like Mikey? How often do we push the boundaries just a little bit more? We think, I can get away with this. I'll be okay. We want to do things our way. We fool ourselves. We think God won't punish us. We think that grace will cover us, so we're okay. But even though his grace secures us in eternity with him, our actions have consequences. We often look up at God and say, why, God? Why did this happen? Why did you allow it? God lovingly laid down directions for our lives to keep us in areas of safety. He gives us a roadmap so we can move forward with an idea of where we are headed. He informs us of the places we shouldn't venture. Why? Because we may get hurt. We may get stuck. We may even miss our destination entirely if we go our own way. His directions keep us from shame, guilt, and regret. Even more, they offer us joy, fulfillment, and purpose. If only we would see God's commands as tools instead of rules. Tools to help us and guide us, to keep us in places of contentment and peace. When we live within the boundaries he has set, we'll live lives that are focused and purposeful. Let's walk hand in hand with God toward the destination he has set before us. Our moment to breathe. God's word is like a roadmap of sorts. His commands show the way to go, the way to live. Spend a little time soaking in his word today. So that is so true. I love this story. What am I talking about? I love all the stories in this book so far. But can't you just see little Mikey standing on the stroller, doing what Mommy told him not to do, and then he falls off, and it's all her fault he fell off? Sounds exactly like some things that we do in our own lives, that we just do whatever we feel like doing and then wonder why things are happening and why God's allowing it. God gave us free will. We're allowed to do whatever we want. Is it something we should do sometimes? Probably not. Is it something we should think about before we actually do it? Probably. But a lot of the times, being humans as we are, we don't listen and we just do whatever we want. So we have to suffer the consequences and just figure it out in the long run and try to do better the next time. So there I am. I went ahead and I colored my man in, and he's looking pretty sad there with his his watercoloring in there. I'm not really loving him, but that's what I'm going to go with. And then I decided there I want to leave room for my journaling, so I'm erasing some of my coloring and trying to get some of it off the page there. So my verse is below my black down there. My thought is that this could be kind of like he's standing out in the field, and I'm going to put a few little grass strokes in there, and it'll make it look a little bit like he's outside, because I want the top part to be like the sunshine, or like he's outside and he's praying and the clouds and the sunset are happening and it's kind of glowing on him there. It's not perfect, but I get the gist of what I was going for. Oh, there's my cute grass strokes. And it probably would have been better if I used some acrylic paint to paint my little guy in there, or my person in, so that it would be completely covered up and you wouldn't see all the shadows and stuff, and it would look more like he had on a coat instead of all faded and patchy like that. But it's okay. That's what I went with, and that's what I'm going to leave in there. So I went ahead also and I hand drew my little words on there beforehand because I didn't want to mess them up later. So I just did some pencil and I'm just going over it with my Sharpie marker to add those back in. Then I decided they weren't quite white enough, so I went ahead and go over them a second time and darken them up a little bit, just so you can see my title there and what I was pointing the guy towards. Then I'm going to go ahead and put away my paint, and I need to outline my verse down there at the bottom. So I'm going to break out my ruler, and I'm going to use my pen to draw a couple of little lines or a box around my verse and highlight it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a box around his commands on the inside of the verse there, just so that I will remember his ways and his commands are the best way to go. So that's what I'm going to be putting in there. And I'm not really loving how this pen works. I should have brought my Micron pen in because it works a little bit better on the gesso than this Sharpie marker. But that's all I had in here when I was doing the video, so that's what I used. But next time I'm going to try to remember to use my Micron because it does fabulous on top of the gesso there. So I'm going to finish up my page with some journaling, and it's going to say, Lord, I want to keep your ways. I want to walk the right path. Help me to know your way for me. Thank you for all you give me and all you are. And then I finish up my day with my date, and I put the day of my journaling of 3/18 at the bottom, so I'll remember later. So if you have a question, leave me a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. If you like the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit the little bell next to it so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Otherwise, I hope you are having a fabulous day, and thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.